What's up, everybody? Aseer the dukeoftiers, right here as we moving closer to the fiscal new year. I'd like to say peace and love to everybody that's been showing a lot of support since we put out that purge. And I've been noticing a lot of things happening in regards to that people have been letting me know that they've been seeing as well. And I definitely like to give honors and praise to all of the ancestors that we've lost between now and then, as well as a lot of the original people who have unfortunately been having their rights trampled upon based upon this new transitional post pre-elect so-called government that's happening in the transitional regime of the United States. One of the things I wanted to build on in comparison or analogous to that is the fact that what is really happening in terms of what you see back and forth with the electoral college and this type of stuff, because a lot of our people don't really deal with how these things affect us. So of course, I took some notes and stuff just in case I need to refer to that. One thing you need to know is that the so-called coup d'etat that's been going down with the so-called president-elect for the United States that they call Donald Trump has been basically orchestrated from what we would call the papal forces on down. So when we look at what's really happening, we're looking at the regime change of a system by which has been perpetually in place for about 239 years now. So this guy Trump, believe it or not, is one of the first people in over 100 years that hasn't directly been down with the so-called Luciferian aspect of the game. He's been about going to a lot of the parties, a lot of the so-called get-togethers, the little meanderings they do, but in terms of him being an actual sheep wearer person that's down with them, he hasn't been down with them like that. He's been invited to the table, but he ain't never actually sat down and ate. So because of that, he's definitely a problem. He's a problem because everything that's been going on has been happening based upon the fact that the United States is about to be demoted to a third world power between 2017 and 2020. So in the process of that, you have the demeaning now of the whole so-called Republican Party. People could say what he want about this person. And again, this is by no means an endorsement of this person either. I'm just talking about what's happening in terms of a universal political situation that's happening. One thing that you could do the knowledge to with this guy is that he's never really been in a position to not make money. So whenever you're dealing with a group or a semblance of a group that have been used to doing things a certain way, whenever somebody comes to kind of switch that or change that, that is definitely a problem to their bread and butter. One, because most of these so-called politicians worldwide are part of this universal pedophilia ring that's been happening through human trafficking and all of that. And another thing these people have done is that they've set up political organizations that are the front for acting like they helping children and stuff like that, when really they're actually the ones really logistically moving them where they need to go, so that way they can continue this bastardization of the human race that they've been involved in. So this guy, being that he is being groomed to be this so-called president-elect, the problem, like I said, is that he was not down with a lot of the Luciferianism. So based on that, he's a threat. So if we want to look into the line of hierarchy as to who he is a threat to, we need only to look to, again, my notes, and I'll let you know. So I'll be writing this down because there's so much stuff now, it's crazy. So at the top, you got the Pope, who represents the Vicar Filii Dei, okay? Which means that he is the closest thing to Christ on earth to them. So he represents the papacy, right? So as the head of the papacy, he basically is the king of earth. So in that, everybody that's down with his little group, right, these so-called Catholics, these are the ones that are now trying to promote this push, right? So on one hand, you have Francis, then you have Skull and Bones, then you have CIA, then you have Opus Dei, then you have the Jesuits, then you have Hillary Clinton, then you have Obama and the associated Boule defectors. So this represents everybody on that side, right? That represents what they call the Brotherhood of Death. Now on the other side of that, you have what they refer to as the Brotherhood of the Eagle, right? Now, the Brotherhood of the Eagle will revolve around all of the white nationalists, right? The so-called Scottish Rite Freemasons, the so-called Sons of Liberty, right? The so-called Tea Party, the so-called Knights of Pythias, right, which represents the KKK, and elements of the Boule. This is why your man Trump met with Jim Brown and Ray Lewis, who technically are the categorical heads of the Boule right now. And what he's doing with that was basically trying to bring them in because Obama is not direct Boule no more. He defected when he decided that he was going to be down with the baby eaters and the rest of these people. So in the process of that, that is a huge problem for these people that have been working towards this thing that they refer to as this New World Order. But this New World Order basically is now in fractions, or is starting to go in tatters, because this guy who's not down with the whole thing, one of his handlers is Alex Jones. I don't know if y'all knew that. And Alex Jones, he'd be the first one talking about all of this Federal Reserve gotta go. So now he's talking about the Federal Reserve gotta go. He's talking about putting gold back behind the money. He's talking about pulling the United States out of all the illegal wars. He's talking about closing down military bases and actually getting cool with Russia. You understand? They have been prepping you to hate Russia for the past 85 years. That's what the Cold War was about. And the reason why the Cold War started was because the United States betrayed Russia after World War II. Most of the people who got killed in World War II was actually from the Russian Union, right? Because they were the ones who went in to try to stop Hitler and all that. But guess what? Hitler was working for MI5, just like Aleister Crowley was. Do the knowledge. Get a book called Secret Agent 666. And you'll see exactly what I'm saying. All of that Crowley, all of that Hitler stuff. Matter of fact, Ian Fleming, they say, was the one that got Hitler out of Germany after they shot the double in the head with Otto Skorzeny. People who don't know a lot of Nazi Brotherhood of Death, that type of history. These are in books that you could get. Peter Moon wrote a bunch of books on this. You can get a book called The Nazi Bell. You can get a book called Black Victims of Hitler. You can get another book called The Forgotten Cause of the Civil War, because all of this is connected to the Moors. I'm going to show you how. So based on all of that, what they're trying to do now is create a system by which now, because these two systems, the Brotherhood of Death and the Brotherhood of the Eagle, are at war with each other, what they're now trying to do is basically pop certain aspects of each other behind the scenes. So a Trump aide was killed in February 2015. I believe her name was Mariam Warloo. And she was killed. In retaliation of that, they went and killed a dude who was the head of the old Opus Dei. His name was Bishop El Javier Havila. And he was found dead right after he did a speech where he was urging all the Catholics in America basically to back Hillary. Because what's happening is that one of the things I was researching when I was researching CIA was that one of the acronyms for CIA is Catholics in Action. And that's because the spiritual head of the Catholic Church, biggest Freemasonic wing in the Opus Dei, he was also a paid informant by CIA and has been for past couple of years now. All the way going back to Pope John Paul I, who prior to him being Pope used to sell Zyklon B, which was the gas that they used in Auschwitz and Dachau and places like that to kill off all of the so-called Jews. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, this is a long-term plan now coming to fruition. So how does this relate to the Moors? Well, this relates to the Moors because the Moors are the ones that are basically the ones first in line to be paid from everybody. All you got to do is read the letter that George Washington wrote the first Sultan, Mohammed ibn Abdullah, the Sultan of Morocco, which established the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1787, along with the Constitution of 1787. This also was in conjunction with the Judiciary Act of 1789, which basically said that if any one of us was to go into their courts in the future, what would have to happen was we would create a situation where those courts would be turned in terms of venue into what they call Article 3 courts, or the courts for the several states, which means we as Moors have the ability to literally change the complexion of the court just by standing in it if we are representatives of the empire. So how are you a representative of the empire? You're a representative of the empire when you have verifying documentation as well as as what do they say? Governmental acknowledgement to the fact, which is what we did when we established our central private government of indigenous Moors and people here in the United States, and did it properly all the way from the bottom to the top to the bottom. And in the process of learning all of that out, I found out the fact that there is a specific contingent that is within every free national government in the world, that when we as the true Americans step up into our capacity, the people who have been acting, who have been perpetrating themselves to be the United States, they now have to take the back seat, and all of the reparations, all of the redress of grievances have to be made and brought due. So the only people that can bring them to pocket to do that are the original Americans, and the original Americans are the original olive-colored, copper-colored people who were here prior to the European invasion. The Prophet Noble Jah Ali said when the European came here, he found Moors living up and down the Mississippi River. So what that then means is that we have a precedent as Muslims to be able to establish our own constituency outside of the present decaying Roman United States Empire prior to their civil war. Why? Because we have a government that was already here, and we go back into that government when we enforce the Constitution through our declaration. Your declaration of nationality is more powerful than you think, but if you are leaving it up to other people to do it for you, you're going to be done. Because this guy Trump, he's here about, put it this way, when he found out he was going to win, the first thing he did was got on the call to Putin and told him, look, I know what's going on with these people, and I'm not trying to go to war with you. And they're retaliating right now against me by shooting all of these black people and all that in the street. Because the more black people and children that they get rid of, remember, these are the original constituency, the descendants, the remnants of the original people of North, Central, and South America, who consolidated themselves as a government and fought against the decaying, old, corrupt Moorish Empire between 1511 and 1776. The so-called Caucasian people didn't get into the war until 1774, when they realized that if they didn't back us up, they were going to be perpetually enslaved to Britain. So what they decided to do was join up with the Lenape people, the Moors, right? And then came into a union with them, which created what they refer to as a United Kingdom over here. And when that was done, the Lenape adopted the Union Jack as their flag, right? And they became liege subjects in accordance with the so-called brutish Moors, who themselves now, they wanted to break away from their overlord, our cousins in them, George and them from England. So here we are 200 and some odd years later. The perpetual way that this started, right? This had its beginning all the way back under a king named Edward the Black. They called him Edward III, who was Edward the Black Prince, who happens to be a Moor, right? But on the white side of the family, he is allegedly direct descendant of both Donald Trump and Hillary, right? So when I say that this is all going back to the Moors, this is what it's about. But because you black Negroes and Negropeans and fence sitters and all these other people want to throw all of these different things and try to throw Moors and all these other people on the bus, as well as all the dirty Moors that perverted what the Prophet left, that perverted all this other shit, because y'all niggas is ready to get on that YouTube and pull out hammers and stuff and talk about how you gonna bust this nigga for knowledge and this and that, when this cracker's out here literally shooting babies down in the street every day. Y'all laughable. So again, you have no, just like how the white man said, there are no laws by which the white man is bound to respect the laws of the black man. I can say the same thing, because white is the highest caste, right? And if we dealing with a caste system, because that's what you are in if you're in the United States, right? All you Moors that's out here talking about Moors this, Moors that, but then you go into your grandmother's house and all of that for Christmas dinner and all that type of shit, all that fence sitting, y'all are the ones that's holding up the progress. All of you black people that's out here talking about, oh, Trump is here to kill us and this and that, y'all holding up the progress, because in the end, that man don't give a damn about you. Name one president in the United States that since you've been alive has ever done anything for you as a melanated person. I'll wait. So if that's never happened, why you expect something to happen then? This dude Obama is the main one putting in right now. He is shipping forces outside. He's shipping forces, United States soldiers, the Navy, the Marines. He's shipping them outside the United States. And what are they doing? They're bringing a lot of foreign troops in here right now. They're bringing them through California. They're bringing them through the port of Miami. They're bringing them through the Hudson right now, right? And they're putting them in the hood, and they're doing psychological operations and evaluations, and your man Trump is against this shit. So in order for him to be against it, he's talking about breaking down the Trans-Pacific Union. Anybody that watched the Big Deck Global Reset, the EU Big Deck Global Reset I did, I told you all about that. I told you all about NAFTA and how Hitler and Clinton was using bodies and all that. We've been talking about this. What's happening now, though, is that the rubber's meeting the road, and now they want to come up with some pseudo coup d'etat to get rid of the one cracker that they can't really control. But guess what? There's two of them. Dick Gregory told you that there was a clone, but I don't even think that. I think he's a twin. One, he's a Gemini. Two, he was born on an eclipse. Three, there's a whole mural of him in the Bank of America in, I think it's on the 51st floor in the Bank of America in Charlotte, North Carolina. That actually shows what I'm talking about. But again, you guys have been so inundated with false information through the conscious community, through false flag operations, through the fact that we are still at odds in terms of what our nationality is, who we're supposed to be, that everybody's all over the place. So, lastly, as we close out, let me go check this again. When I say that there was a brotherhood of death and a brotherhood of the eagle, one represents the Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? That represents the new secular order of ages. That is the Freemasons that bonded under the Sultan and grabbed the hem of his garment that he might protect them. So when we talk about the three flags of the United States, the flag of the United States that we know as the American flag, that's the red flag with the green star. That's the flag of your empire and the flag of Al-Marak, the Al-Maghreb Al-Aqsa, right? The original flag of the United States was the red flag with the white canton, meaning the white box, with the green flag. That's the flag of the United States of America in Congress assembled. The trading banner now, right, that they tell you is the United States flag, that's the trading banner that represented the Caucasoid European Freemasons who joined the Freemasonic War against the old decaying Moorish Empire and those dirty Moors to eventually set up the Novus Ordo Seclorum. Out of that, we also have the E Pluribus Unum, right? Out of one, many. That is us, right? Those of us coming back into the constitutional fold. There's an old Latin phrase, because Moors, we supposed to be speaking Latin too. Same way you speak Spanish and Arabic, you're supposed to be speaking Latin too. There's an old phrase in Latin that goes, Quicumalio contrahit vel es vel ebe debit non ignoros contradictos ellos, which means he who enters into a contract either is or ought not to be ignorant of what the tenets of the contract denote. So that means, brothers and sisters, if you're going into any group, organization, or anything else in you building, and you're trying to find out what the truth of the matter is, you better find out the fine print of the contract, because most of these contracts are adhesion contracts, and they're signing you back up to put you back in slavery. You, again, are an original person of North, Central, and South America. So in that, all money made by the United States after 1774 goes back to the Moorish Empire. But not that little satellite colony that we set up over there to be a beachhead for us to take over Europe over there, that kingdom of Morocco. Those people are under the jurisdiction of the Saudi Arabians, right? Who are the Hagarenes, who are our cousins, right? But who have been living a beast way of life too. They out there brandishing, enslaving Africans, throwing acid on Ethiopians, having debauch, ratchet orgies and all this type of shit, right? All of these so-called conscious Muslim people. Well, as Muslims, we have a distinct identity that's outside of all of this. And most of these people that's talking to you about this Moorish science steez, if you don't see them in no headdress, if you don't see their real IDs or whatever, they just talking a bunch of crap, right? And what they're going to do, they're going to put you in a trick bag, because a lot of these people is working for the same brotherhood of death and these people that's out here killing people and locking them up. You understand? So in that, let me go further. So because everybody owes you as a Moorish American, it is your responsibility to be and put yourself in a position to establish your estate and your pedigree properly, so that way you can receive what is due and owed to you as a royal Muslim. But you're not going to get that if you follow behind these Muslims. You're not going to get that if you follow behind all of these other people. Because all these other people have sworn oaths, death oaths, to keep you from your true nationality. There's a reason why they don't go to a Filipino person, and as dark as they are, don't ever tell them if they come from Africa. You the only one in the world that they go to and tell you that where you are is not where you from, you need to go somewhere else. But the people that's telling you that is the same people that inherited and brought you out. So Obama also passed off this new executive order that's against invasive species. So he's basically saying that an invasive species is anybody that's coming here from anywhere that has their own agenda or their own government outside of the United States. So what that's saying, brothers and sisters, they basically prepping you for some sort of fake arrival, some sort of fake alien invasion, some sort of fake whatever it is that they getting ready to pump on you, all in conjunction with this fake election. Let me see if I left anything out. There's so much stuff, I'm gonna have to leave it to the next thing. So the new narrative again is that Russia was the one that got this dude in, and basically flipped the election on people, and now is basically he's the Russian president, as if that could ever be true. So none of this is happening. The national emergency basically is going to be declared, because then if they can get people to believe that, they can deny this dude the presidency. That's going to set the white nationalists off, and now we're going to be in the second civil war. So what I would say, brothers and sisters, tune into the next joint, because we're going to go into another little known concept about what's happening with the different placement, the fact that we're not geographically or even astronomically where we were maybe a year and a half ago. Also, I want you to check out, we're about to start Super Hayward Radio again, Super Hayward Radio podcast. It's going to be hosted by Selena Cordoba L. It's going to be popping. I'm going to come in here and there when I can, because I'm traveling right now, but I want you to support. And also, if you hear anybody else talking Super Hayward Radio, tell them niggas to stop biting. Tell them to get their own. Tell them that we've been forged this whole lane for ourselves over the past 12 to 15 years without niggas, without New York, without any of these black devils that's out here pumping all this confusion, trying to remake the history like they wasn't the ones out here causing the confusion, like they wasn't the ones out here trying to threaten niggas, that they wasn't the ones out here basically stealing money from people, like they weren't the ones out here basically promoting the same debates now that they saying they against. You understand? This is why the conscious community is in shambles, and it has been ever since we put out the purge. So I know what I do. I know the spiritual work that me and the queen be doing, and I know that the time is coming for us all that's really real about this thing to step up on our own too, without a whole bunch of people that's not really going to be about this thing, and stand up for what it really is, which is love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and equality. You understand? It's us. We have nobody else. Nobody's coming down from the sky to help you. Nobody's coming from the inner earth to help you. It's you and me and us. You understand? That's the only way we're going to get out. The prophet said the one thing that surprised me is when I see a more do right. And I swear, every time I hear that phrase, every time I hear that quote, I know that he ain't never say nothing that wasn't the truth. So you can say what you want. You could be what you want. You could be... They could tell you got you from the moon. But next time we get up, we're going to deal with quantum superpositioning. We're also going to be dealing with data nanoproning and how data mining is being used to perpetuate this false reality. So love and light to you. You're going to get up. You want to holler at me, hit me up at houseofbell@hotmail.com. You want to donate to dukeoftiers@gmail.com via PayPal. I'm here if you're ready to get your stuff right. And again, more's up, more's down. Again, all of the noble Moors doing their thing. Love and light. See you soon.